Good day, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are around the world, around the country, around the state, around the city. I'm your host, Dr. Teresa J. Canada of the Silk Stocking Sisters podcast. And I wanted to say very briefly, I've had several topics lately. The last several topics, I talked about a variety of things related to education. We talked about, segregation of the public schools in the North. We talk about the psychological, emotional experiences of young children in northern schools. We talked about racial identities in early childhood. We talked about the effect, issues we've dealt with Black teachers, where do they go, from segregated schools in the North to integrated schools in the North, really. Also, elementary and secondary education in the North that led to higher education in the South at HBCUs. We talked about reading as the foundation for learning, and we talked about the issues of classism and the effect that it has on educational achievement. And of course, we talked about the Puerto Rican population in New York City and what happened during the 1960s and with the migration of more Puerto Ricans to the mainland between 1940 to 1916, what was happening with the overcrowdedness of the schools and where they were living because of redlining. People could only live in certain places. And also economic issues that related to that as well. So we talked about that. And I had a guest who was a teacher, who was a student as well as a teacher in the Jersey City Public Schools, which is, of course, everybody knows New Jersey is a northern state. And this was an experience to hear about a major city in New Jersey and her experience of attending school and what it was like with the language issue and how she wasn't able to speak English and how she was, kind of chastised by, about her not being able to speak English. So now I just want to end this particular episode, in this episode, to kind of putting like a closure to these topics and just talk about very briefly about educational excellence and what that means. Okay. So let me give you a definition of, that I found from the lawinsider.com. I'm definitely going to cite the people who I get my definitions from. So according to this particular site, it says educational excellence means programs, practices, learning materials, and equipment which have direct impact upon the instruction of students and result in increased student performance in the acquired state school curriculum. Okay, so we're talking about whatever state you are, but of course, every state is different, so that will probably modify what's required for the student performance based upon the state where you're located. So that's the definition of educational excellence based upon lawinsider.com. Now, I have to break this down a little bit. Let's look at the terms excellence. What does excellence mean? Okay. Excellence, now I'm old school. I went to the hard copy dictionary, Webster's New Collegiate Dictionary. I still have it. Okay. And that dictionary described excellence as the quality of being excellent. So once I found that, what does that mean? So what does excellent mean? According to the same dictionary, excellent means superior, very good of its kind, eminently good, first class. That's the definition of excellent. So now what about educational? What does educational mean? So educational, based upon the World Book Encyclopedia Dictionary. Now I'm telling you, I'm old school. I have my original dictionary that I used when I was in elementary school that my parents bought for us when we were in elementary school, and I had to rebound and everything. So that's how good it is. You can't find stuff like that anymore. So I'm just saying to you, I kept it, and it really has been really resourceful for all my 4 degrees that I received. So let me just define educational based upon the World Book Encyclopedia. It says educational means giving education, tending to educate. So my question is, based upon this topic for today, is educational excellence for all or for only some? For all or for only some? So based upon this definition, it all depends. Do we just want to educate some of the students or some of the people in this country or in this in the United States, or just the northern part of the United States and not the southern part of the United States? Do we just want to educate some people, or do we want to educate all? Do we want to have, are we going to give education to some people, or are we going to give it to only certain people? Okay? Or do we give it to all people? So do we expect excellence from just certain people, or all of the people? So this is why I'm saying it's important to think about. You talk about, like I talk my book about desegregation of New York City public schools. Do we just want certain people to have excellence in education? Okay, which means that they're only going to have excellent programs, practices, materials, and so forth, which will impact their lives from that point forward. And it starts early on, because it does make a difference. Or are we just going to say, okay, just give certain people certain things, so some information, and don't give them the rest, or only give certain populations of students a quality environment and good resources, and we forget about the rest? I'm saying that it's important how we think about what we're doing in this society, in this country right now. We need to teach to all. We need to have expectation of excellence with all. And unless we're able to do that, then we're not going to be able to be a thriving country as a whole. Because when you leave certain people out, we're losing a lot when we do that. So the ideology of like only certain people need to be in, we need to rethink that philosophy or that perspective or that way of thinking, so that we can think about including everybody, because everyone has something to offer. So we need to make sure that we provide excellent opportunities for people to be able to be excellent in terms of their educational successes in this country. Okay, folks, that was a very brief podcast episode. I just want to throw that out. Love to hear your comments about that and see if we can make a difference moving forward, okay? All right, listen, have a great day, evening, night, wherever you are around the world, around the country, around the state, around the city. And I look forward to you participating, or at least checking out the next few episodes of Silk Stocking Sisters. Have a great one, everyone. Bye.